It's kind of funny sometimes when you come across a game that you'd never seen or heard of before, only to find out that there are 5 games based on the same thing. In this case, a Shonen Jump manga called Kishin Douji Zenki, and the game in question, Kishin Douji Zenki Rettou Raiden. I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about the manga, but the game is about... well, I don't know enough Japanese to say that either, but I do know stage 1 begins with a bird stealing a ring from the main characters, and the hero Zenki has to go get it. With his small stature and crown, he looks like the Monkey King in Journey to the West, which it may or may not have been inspired by. His small stature is not a lasting thing though. After the first boss and when he gets the ring back, he gets transformed into a more imposing man. The girl he's hanging out with, Chiaki, acts like a support character, giving tips and some exposition along the ride, but at least unlike modern games, you don't have to listen to her. What you do have to listen to is Zenki's battle cries, and like in Mega Man X4 it can get a bit repetitive, especially in his smaller form where he yells at every single attack. As regular Zenki, you basically just brawl and jump your way through the level, but as Super Zenki, let's call it, you get a few extra attacks like an uppercut that summons a tornado, and a charge that lets you shoot energy from your hand. If you have scrolls available and hold down Y, then press X, you'll perform a strong attack that'll kill all enemies on the screen, but it also drains a third or so of your health bar, so it's not really worth it. Speaking of life bars, Super Zenki has a much longer life bar than Small Zenki. You also have a forward and a backward dash that you do with the L and R buttons, as well as a double jump that unfortunately doesn't really propel you upward as much as just hold you in the air for an extra moment. This is not a particularly fast-paced game. Movement as Super Zenki, which is how you'll spend most of the game, feels pretty sluggish and heavy. And every time you land after a jump, he stops for a short moment to sort of compose himself, as if his costume was really heavy. Another somewhat annoying thing is his tendency to not make jumps onto edges of platforms. It's definitely not as generous with that as, say, Sonic the Hedgehog. But on the other hand, the levels are built with that low speed in mind. You can't just keep going right until the exit, as it's locked by a barrier. You'll have to look around first after these triangular stones and punch them all to crumbs. Some give scrolls, some give health, and some give out enemies disguised as health. Crafty. When you've found the last one, you'll know it, as it will be bright red. The graphics are pretty amazing in my opinion. The backgrounds look like paintings almost, and the sprites are large as well as detailed. If you compare it to Hagane, another game made by this studio, you might see that they had some talented pixel artists on their payroll. Much later they would go on to make the Wii launch title Wing Island, but by then pixels were exchanged into polygons and with it came mediocrity. The gameplay of Kishin Douji Zenki Rettou Raiden is definitely not as spectacular as its graphics, but it's a competent game and it's not expensive to buy either. Why not give it a try?